So everybody took our time. Now I'm being told we only have 2 minutes to discuss this, which is quite difficult. So because of that, I'm just going to call out the panelists, Renata, Okin, and Naomi. All right. So I think the first question would be just introduce yourself and tell us what you do in the Bitcoin space and how long you've been in the space.
Oh, so my name is Naomi. I'm the founder of Bitcoin Babies. I've not been in the space for so long because I was introduced by my partner quite a while ago. I really never paid attention to it until I got pregnant and developed some issues, complications with pregnancy. So I had to stay home and really had a lot of time in my hands. And I really took this time to really study and understand Bitcoin. I remember at the same time I was going through my pregnancy. I'm a Kenyan, but I live in the Netherlands. So for me, the care I was getting in the Netherlands really stood out for me as compared to what we get here in Kenya. And I remember thinking to myself and saying to myself that every woman deserves this kind of care. Because the two came into my life at the same time. I thought of a way I could make this journey a little bit easier for women from the community I come from, maybe just a small number of women each year, and also just use Bitcoin as a tool to empower them.
Thank you very much. And thank you to the partner, whoever you are.
Hi, everyone. My name is Renata. I'm head of marketing and community at FERI. I've been at the ecosystem for around 5-6 years already, which is on Bitcoin age is like dog age, right? Like, so probably I'm like 7 years old on Bitcoin. And I discovered Bitcoin in a very different way. Like I wasn't like a super maxi Bitcoiner, and then I joined the ecosystem. I joined peer-to-peer platform, and my first month, I went to a travel with the CEO of the company to meet the people that were working on the using this platform. And for my surprise, I found a lot of people that were like really hustling, people that were like Uber drivers or different from the Westerns that were like just speculating around Bitcoin. And I found like a lot of entrepreneurs before even Bitrefill was there. They were like topping up funds around their regions by buying Bitcoin and sell in exchange of some service. So I decided that I want to teach people about this. So, and that's what I've been doing. So my focus are the masses, and that's why I love communities.
Hi, everybody, and thank you for having me on the panel. My name is Oken, and I'm the founder of EasySats. Basically, what we do is, it's in the name of the company. We try to make it easy for people to obtain their Bitcoin, to store their Bitcoin, and of course, to use their Bitcoin without having to come back to us. That's generally what we do. I got into Bitcoin more via use cases. I think I'll leave it at that because, I can ramble for a bit. But yeah, for me, the whole thing was doing public displays of proof of work, so that when I go and I try to onboard people, they've already seen me do it. It's not something secret that I'm trying to do. And in that, it becomes about easier, because if you're willing to do it in public, then it's less likely that you're trying to scam somebody. So it was an easier conversation.
Okay. So my next question would be to Naomi. You said you wanted to create a better community for the women in your particular tribe or particular community. And I want to know, like, for you, in the context of Bitcoin, what is the most important thing or aspect when it comes to introducing Bitcoin into your community?
So I would like to correct you first. It's not tribe. I would say we have everyone, women from different tribes. For me, I wanted, for me, the most important thing, we would say, like what Bitcoin offers, that is financial independence, which it's something great. I also remember, maybe I can give an example. At the start of our program, we had a woman who wanted to join our program. But the husband made it impossible for her to be part of our program because he was asking, why are you sending this woman money directly instead of sending it to me? So I can just discuss this question by examples because we have also a woman like Gladys who never had an account. Now she has a bank account and she can be able to make transactions by herself. We also have
When you say bank account, do you mean a Bitcoin account?
I mean a Bitcoin,
Okay.
Bitcoin account, not a bank account. But for them, they see it as a bank account because they really never had a bank account. And something like a Bitcoin wallet really makes it possible for them. And I also have that woman. We were talking the other day, and I asked her if she actually makes purchases in Bitcoin. And for her, she told us, like, okay, I don't buy anything in my house because my husband does not allow me to have any money or to hold anything. So I have this wallet. I can just hide some money for myself, and the husband won't know. So I would say that those are the most important kind of examples I can give to answer your questions. So financial independence, inclusion for everyone.
Amazing. And I just want to maybe give a shout out to, I know your manager, Veronica, who is here with us. She has been doing most of the onboarding in Kenya. So Veronica, just wave. I believe you have been able to onboard merchants around your community. So they've been doing a great job. They have hospital, a clinic, I believe, a market that accepts Bitcoin, so which is a really amazing job. I'll go over to probably Okin. So Okin, you've been doing a lot of, Bitcoin onboarding in your part of the world. And this is the reason why I wanted you to be part of this particular panel. Could you share to us why or what do you understand by, or define a circular economy in the context of Bitcoin?
Okay. Well, for me, when I speak about circular economies, it's about. So I'm from Namibia. We're a very small country. We're population-wise, we're a large country, but we're like 3 million people. So for me, the thing was, how do we introduce Bitcoin without you going back into fiat? And that's, for me, a circular economy is people that are able to earn the Bitcoin, spend the Bitcoin, and the people that they spend it at can go spend it again, instead of them taking it and then selling it back out of the community. And the reasoning for me, personally, why I feel so strongly about circular economies is when I was growing up and we were hearing about money, people would always say, in a Jewish community, a dollar would move or touch like 1,000 hands before it moves out of the community. And in that, they were able to strengthen the purchasing power of their community. I see Bitcoin as a way that those of us that can't touch dollars, those of us that don't have that opportunity, now have an ability to make our own smaller communities, our villages, even our schools, able to prosper in a way that our purchasing power can grow over time, if we don't sell out the Bitcoin that we're able to receive, earn, or buy into the community. Because there is a limited amount, and as time moves on. So for me, circular economies are about purchasing power for those of that community to gain and not just lose in the way that we always have.
Amazing. And to Renata, you work with FEDI, and from my understanding, we work with communities a lot. And my question would be, how do you approach educating local communities about Bitcoin to ensure adoption and engagement? And it's a continuous cycle, not just a one-time thing.
So the first thing that we try to do is discover what is the problem that they have. So generally, the approach that people does is like, this is my wallet, use it. What do we try to understand? Like, are you unbanked? Are you debanked? You have no bank? Or do you have problems to access your financial system because you don't have ID? Or we're trying to figure out, like in the practicality, what Bitcoin is serving these people. So after we discover that, so then we focus on that. And what we've been discovering for these 6 years is you don't even need to say the word Bitcoin. If they understand the value of this, they come back to you and ask you, what am I using here? So we go really focused on the practicality, on how Bitcoin can serve the person. After that, they get it. You don't need to teach them about it.
True. You don't really need to be technical about it. Amazing. And to Naomi, you've worked with a lot of merchants and businesses, I presume. And how do you onboard local merchants and businesses? Like, what is the model that you use? Do you have incentives? What do you actually do?
Okay, I think when it comes to onboarding merchants, the most important thing we did is we used a mom who was living in the area. So the merchants were already comfortable with her. And we also, the moms we are working with are from that area. That also means the merchants were also comfortable with her. I would say we have different kind of merchants, and you have merchants maybe who make sales today and they read to restock tomorrow. So that merchant actually convincing them to accept Bitcoin is a bit difficult because sometimes they think it's a scam, or sometimes they think the fluctuations might be an issue for them. But for us, I would say for the merchants who are a bit uncomfortable and they were worried about losing their money, we told them what we will do for you. So this is not for all the merchants, but it's a few. So we gave them some kind of Kenyan shillings in advance, let's say 2,000 Kenyan shillings, because you need to restock tomorrow. So we give them that comfort. And this 2 Kenyan shillings is made when they reach that amount, they have made sales of 2,000, they can transfer it back to us. So we made that transition a bit easy for them. That has completely changed their view for Bitcoin. Now they just accept Bitcoin without us needing to give them fiat in advance.
You started by giving them some sort of collateral, some sort of security.
Yeah, some sort of security.
Very smart. Okay. And this is to Okin. I actually love what you do, Okin. You've been on media stations talking about Bitcoin. Tell us about that. Tell us about the regulatory framework in Namibia, because that can be a challenge for the majority of people, and especially Bitcoin educators.
Okay, so I truly believe that as Bitcoiners, you shouldn't hide from authoritative figures. They're still just people, and you need to engage them. If you don't engage them, they're going to make up their own minds. So what we did was, the guy that got me into Bitcoin becoming full, he's the person that actually got called, or he called up the central bank people and was like, I'm going to give you the Bitcoin standard, read it. He called up, the Minister of Finance, and he gave him the Bitcoin standard to read. But then what this resulted in was they were like, okay, come to us and speak with us. Like anybody from the industry, we'll do an open day at the central bank, and then you guys can come through and we'll tell you what we want to do regulation-wise, and you tell us why or why not. So I attended a lot of those sessions, and while moving through them, we realized that you can actually have a full-on conversation with these authoritative figures. The result of this was the Virtual Assets Act of Namibia that came out the 31st of July. Yeah, anyway, end of July last year, was written alongside Bitcoiners. So the way, there's no capital gains tax within the act that's already been passed by Parliament. In Namibia, there's absolutely zero capital gains tax. There's no tax on your Bitcoin mining. And then almost everybody here that has a Bitcoin company or something like that, you would, unless you're selling Bitcoin directly or holding custody of people's funds, you would fall under what is called ancillary services. So you're more like a support service for the people. So the Namibian Virtual Assets Act is literally, in my opinion, from the ones that I've read across the continent, we have the best legislation currently because it doesn't hinder Bitcoiners, but it does hinder exchanges, which is another problem in itself because how do you get, but we do have on and off ramps. So for me, yeah, the law itself, because it was written alongside Bitcoiners that weren't trying to take advantage, it has allowed for things like, I can send you Bitcoin P2P at any amount, it's legal. If I want to sell you Bitcoin above 10,000 or above 5,000 Namibian dollars, then I got to get a license. But if I'm selling it under 5,000 Namibian dollars, like to the working people, the working class, then I don't need a license for that because it's seen as an ancillary service. So Yeah, it was written in a really good way, in my opinion. But again, if they want to go back and now introduce capital gains tax, they need the entirety of Parliament to agree to that. And we just had an election and we have a new president, so that's not going to happen anytime soon. So yeah.
So Renata, and I know Naomi has talked about this, but I would like to get your view or how you've dealt with this before as well. So when you're trying to onboard a merchant or anybody else who is not, a hodler, investor, there's always the question of what about the volatility? I need to pay, like she said, I need to pay, I need to restock, I need to pay my staff. If I accept Bitcoin, then what happens next? Bitcoin could shoot, could also go down. So how do we deal with such questions?
So we use different styles depending of the community, right? So there are some communities they chose to have the stability pool, which is a tool that we have to make a decentralized way to freeze the Bitcoin. And we understand that, and we will say, that's what you need, that's what you get. There are other ones, they try to do the similar model of the M-Pesa. So what they want to do is like they want to be also the broker, the little broker for someone else. So we start to teach them how to understand how to make profit as an agent for someone in the community. So then they see the benefit of Bitcoin volatility for them, in playing for themselves, right? So one of the things that you mentioned that I think it's key for is agents, and sometimes we try to solve the chicken and egg situation that a lot of circular economies have, which is I have the business, but nobody buys with Bitcoin. I have Bitcoin, but the business doesn't take. It's the idea of the earning, right? So when the person sees the value of like, oh, when I take the Bitcoin and I can make money out of this, they start to think, oh, there is a benefit there. So what we're trying to do, and we've been doing a lot of tests. If you guys want to know more about it, I can explain to you. But we've been trying to do tests about like what motivates someone to change the system that they have currently. So if I use cash, why I would change this? Maybe it's because I don't have that much money that is interesting for me to use M-Pesa, because M-Pesa would charge me 50%, because it's a very tiny amount of money. But I still want to access this. Or maybe because I don't have ID, I'm a refugee, so how I can access the financial system that I have. Or maybe because I want to make another alternative of money, right? So we try to test as much as we can locally with the community to see what makes sense for them.
Amazing. And as we wind this up, I just want to hear maybe any last words you had, any advice, especially to people who would want to start their own Bitcoin circular economies in their own community, because I feel as Bitcoiners that is really important, not just to hodl, preach about hodl, and expect the world to reach to the hyper Bitcoinization level that we want. So we do need to start from somewhere, and we definitely need to start within our communities. So do you have any last words, advice, or insights that you might want to, share with the audience?
For me, I would say if you are looking into starting a community, it's best to start where you're from, like she said, because actually building that trust with the kind of community we are working with, because it's a bottom up. People don't trust you when it comes to money. It's really difficult to earn that trust. But then you have to identify the community you're working with and come up with solutions that really work for that community.
Thank you, amazing.
So in our case, we don't build communities, right? We empower communities everywhere. And where we're seeing the communities that are more powerful, or they connect themselves with something that is very common. That's why the name community comes from, right? So I think it's important to make the community see together what actually makes them move forward, It can be, for example, a saving system, right? I've been seeing a lot of women, especially in Africa, getting together to save money, and then with the target, we wanted to be able to lend money to our sisters when they need to buy supplies, or when they have a goal to send the kids abroad to study. So it's much easier if you connect with the others with the objective in common than just the objective in common being Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin is the tool. It's a powerful tool, but just by liking Bitcoin might not be enough. And that's my opinion. That's what we're seeing around.
Yeah, I'd say number one, have a conversation instead of trying to lecture to them. Find out what their pain points are. One of the easiest ones for me is point of sale machines, right? Nobody wants to pay that fee as the establishment. So start with their pain points, have a conversation. Don't even mention Bitcoin yet. Once you know what their pain point is, normally it's just I'll come spend Bitcoin here if you accept it. And that in itself, like start, like as my fellow panelists have been saying, start where you are, but go to the places you normally, if you go to a restaurant all the time or a bar, go there because they know you there and say, hey, I can come here. If you allow me to pay in Bitcoin, I'll show you the benefits and I'll even come buy it back from you if you don't really want it. But allow me to show you why this is better than your current system. Like instead of talking about decentralization and all that, that can come later. Just talk to them as human beings and have a conversation. That's what I would say.
Can I add something? Okay, I forgot to mention, maybe when you're looking also into starting communities, like the way you said, you really have to not only focus on the educational part of it, but also let people have that practical use of Bitcoin. So for us, we give the moms each mom $5 a week. And after maybe they have had lessons on how to use wallet, these $5, they go to the shopkeepers to be able to practically make transactions with this money other than just educating them and onboarding maybe shops and then leaving it at that. And there are no people who are actually accepting this payment. So we really need to try and maybe invest money or push money in for that adoption to really get there.
Great. So just for the sake of audience, where can they find you should they want to know more about what you're doing?
Or you can find us on Twitter at BTC Babies. Also, we have our own website, btcbabies.com. You can also find us on Instagram at BTC Babies. And I would like to take this opportunity to announce that we have a meetup in our own circular economy on 12th. So if you'd like to see like how the moms are actually using Bitcoin in their daily lives, you can join us from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m.
In the case of Ferry, you can go to our website, ferry.xyz. We also have a Twitter account, an X account, which is ferry_BTC. And myself, I'm as Loba Estrangeira at X. And you can download the app and play with it. And if you have any communities, please feel free to reach out to us. We would love to see how we can create synergies together.
For me, it's Easy Sats on Twitter. I'm not going to say X, it's Twitter. So it's Easy Sats on Twitter and it's Easy Sats on Instagram. And then Easy Sats on LinkedIn. And then for my personal one, it's the same everywhere, Oken_17. So I look forward to seeing you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Let's all remember Bitcoin is a tool. Use it to solve your challenges, not other people's challenges. Thank you.